Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent Start, and welcome back to Season 2. Today, I want to talk about something that feels a little uncomfortable for many people, but is actually very important in real conversations. Disagreement. Or more specifically, how to disagree naturally. Because in real life, you will not always agree with everyone. People have different opinions, different experiences, different perspectives. And that's normal. But the problem is, many English learners don't know how to disagree comfortably. So they do one of two things. They either stay silent, even when they have a different opinion, or they sound too direct, and it feels a bit awkward. And I think this happens because we don't know how to balance honesty and politeness. We want to express our opinion, but we also don't want to sound rude. And that's where this skill becomes important. Disagreeing is not about winning. It's not about proving someone wrong. It's about sharing your perspective in a respectful way. I think one of the biggest mistakes is thinking that disagreement must sound strong or aggressive. But actually, natural disagreement is often soft, simple, and respectful. For example, instead of saying, "You're wrong," you can say, "I see your point, but I think differently." That already feels very different. It shows respect, but it also shows your opinion. Another example, instead of saying, "No, that's not true," you can say, "I'm not sure about that," or "I see it in a different way." It sounds softer, more natural, and easier to accept. I think adding small phrases at the beginning helps a lot. Phrases like, "I understand what you mean. That's a good point. I can see why you think that." These phrases don't mean you agree. They just show that you are listening. And that makes the conversation feel more comfortable. After that, you can add your opinion. But I think, however, in my opinion, from my perspective. And now you are disagreeing, but in a very natural way. I think tone also matters a lot. Not just the words, but how you say them. If your tone is calm, your disagreement feels calm. If your tone is harsh, even a simple sentence can feel rude. So sometimes it's not about changing your sentence, it's about changing your delivery. I also think it's important to remember that disagreement is not a problem. It's part of communication. In fact, it can make conversations more interesting. Because when people have different opinions, they can learn from each other. They can see things in a new way. So instead of avoiding disagreement, maybe we can learn to feel more comfortable with it. Another thing that helps is asking questions. Instead of directly saying your opinion, you can ask, "Why do you think that? Can you explain more? That's interesting. What made you think that?" And then you can respond. This makes the conversation more open, more balanced, not like a debate, but like a discussion. I also want to say this. You don't always need to disagree strongly. Sometimes it's okay to partially agree. You can say, "I agree with you in some ways, but," and then add your point. This shows that you are flexible, that you are open-minded, and that makes your communication stronger. Because real conversations are not black and white. They are full of small differences, small agreements, small disagreements, and that's what makes them real. I think many learners are afraid of disagreement because they are afraid of conflict. But disagreement does not have to create conflict. If you say it in the right way, it can actually build connection. Because you're being honest, but still respectful. And that's a very important skill. Anyway, if you feel uncomfortable disagreeing in English, that's completely normal. It takes practice. It takes awareness. But slowly, you will get used to it. You will find your own way of expressing your opinion, in a way that feels natural, in a way that feels like you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this episode helps you feel more confident, not only in speaking, but also in sharing different opinions, because your voice matters, even when it's different. Thank you for listening to Fluent Start. see you in the next episode.